Assalamu alaikum, Islam to all the Moors, Shalawama. Welcome to the free Astro Theology course. This course is the astrology of the Old Testament, or the Lost Word Regained, published in 1892 by Carl Anderson. Now y'all take a look at this title. There's a lot of information in that title. If you have knowledge one, let's look at this. There are layers. Of course, dogmatic religion, the solar religions. Christianity is one. Then there is the astrology. Of course, combine those two together, that's where you get astrotheology. So the astrology is running all up and down both the Old and the New Testaments. And then, of course, there is the mythology. There is the mythology associated with the astrology. So, of course, the astrology involves the zodiac, the solar zodiac projection that everybody knows about, all right? And of course, actually, this is something that most people miss. So when you look at the zodiac signs and a zodiacal age, for example, the age of Pisces, the age of Taurus, the age of Gemini, okay? So each age lasts about approximately 2,159 years, something like that. So now in the solar zodiac projection, presently there are 12 zodiac signs. Of course, some people say there are 13. Okay. So when you add that, multiply that 2,160 times the 12 zodiac signs, you get something like 25,900, 600, 26, somewhere around about there. So that's the number of years it will take, for example, the SUN sun to travel through each zodiac sign. So each zodiac sign, the sun will be in, okay. If you look toward the east, at about 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, at sunrise, you look, and you're at the equator. You're between the Tropic of Cancer, 23.5 degrees north, of course 0 degrees, which is the equator, and 23.5 degrees south, which is the Tropic of Capricorn. So if you look toward the east, right at the horizon, excuse me, right at the horizon on the first day of spring, let's say March 22nd, all right, or thereabout, you'll see a zodiac sign, all right? So during Christianity's reign, the zodiac sign at the horizon was Pisces, okay? Some people say now we're in Aquarius, all right? So if you go out between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn on the first day of spring and look toward the east at sunrise, you'll see Pisces, all right? So if we're in Aquarius, if we're in the age of Aquarius, you will see Aquarius. If we're in the age of Taurus, Taurus the bull, which is Apis, right, which is where Osiris or Apis and Osiris comes from. So Osiris, which is two deities in one. Apis the bull, of course, Osiris, Pharaoh Osiris. And if you go back even further, it's the age of Gemini, the twins. Okay, does everyone follow? So here's what most people I think miss or don't consider. If you look at each age, now this is what the astrologers say. Each age, each zodiac age, ushers in a new set of deities and a new religion. In other words, a new belief system. The key is belief system, okay, or dogmatic belief system. And I strongly disagree with that. Even though that's a conventional wisdom, I don't see that in practice. So the story goes like this, and I'm still on the same topic. The story goes like this. At the end of one zodiacal age, the deities of that age become defamed. Okay, people defame them, they become disrespected by the masses, and a new set of deities and a new belief system comes in. But some elements, in other words, some of the rituals, some of the rites, some of the ceremonies, some of the beliefs will be preserved or will continue into the next zodiacal age. And that's the story that they tell. And the reason why I disagree with that so much is because you don't see anybody saying, if we're in the age of Aquarius now, you don't see anybody saying fish is terrible, don't eat fish anymore. You don't see anyone, let's say, because we are not in Taurus, or the age of Taurus, the bull, you don't see anyone saying beef is horrible. Don't eat beef. Cows are terrible. Cows are the devil. You don't see that. Okay, you don't see people saying twins are evil. Twins are the devil. Okay, no more twins. We don't see that. All right, and you definitely don't see people saying lamb or rams are the devil. Lambs are terrible. Lambs are bad. We don't see that. But we do see it. If anybody ever mentions typhoon or the great mother nature, the great mother typhoon, if anyone ever mentions the circumpolar zodiac projection, everybody, well, not everybody, because most people don't even know about this, but those who know, or those who may have heard about it, they're going to come out talking like typhoon is the devil, pure evil. Or soot, typhoons, according to the story. Now remember, this is allegorical. Soot, typhoons, or the great mothers, or as the Egyptians call her, the Kemites call her, who are our ancient ancestors, call her Hathor. And her immaculate conception. Not JC's immaculate conception, but her immaculate conception and her firstborn son. Which is not a physical son, of course, right? It's celestial. It's Sirius the dog star in the southern region, in the southern, in the South Pole, South Celestial Pole. All right, so soot gets so defamed that soot becomes Satan the devil in Christianity. All right, so we see this happening when you talk about the Great Mother, the celestial ship of the north, the Great Bear, the circumpolar zodiac, or when we talk about reckoning time by the stars, which is understanding reality, what reality truly is. Okay, what is reality? Understanding the Hermetic Laws, or the laws or principles that govern physical phenomena, celestial and terrestrial. In other words, in the heavens and on earth. Understanding nature and natural phenomena. And then living in harmony with natural law. The natural law governing consciousness is do no harm. Okay, do no harm and do no injury. Directly or indirectly, don't play the puppet master. Like a certain group of, like a certain political party does. Posing as a religion, posing as a people, as a nation. Okay, I think everyone understands what I'm saying. Okay, so that is reality. That is reality. As opposed to the solar zodiac projection, which is based on, and you guys are going to see, scholars, you're going to see this. You're going to see this as I continue. In fact, if you want to learn about the circumpolar zodiac projection, the celestial ship of the north, subscribe to our other YouTube channel. It's called North, North, North. Okay, or Google search celestial ship of the north, Dr. Yasako. You'll see my face. You may not, from what people tell me, you have to search. Okay, it doesn't come right up. But anyway, if you want to learn about this stuff, subscribe there, because that's where I'm doing the celestial ship of the north. But I'm also integrating and correlating here in this class. All right, so you can see both zodiac projections and how the solar zodiac projection is a remix of the circumpolar zodiac projection. All right, so let's go back to the story. So now here's what I got way off the topic. So here's what most people miss. So a zodiacal age has its gods, devils, and demons. Right? Now, why is that? Because a whole solar zodiac projection is based on good and evil, light and darkness. Y'all see it? Good and evil, light and darkness. Okay? Wisdom and stupidity, knowledge and ignorance. Now, some people might say, "Oh, well, that's the law of opposites." Those are opposites, so that's okay. Well, yeah, those are opposites, but it's misapplied. It is misapplied. The law governing consciousness, governing the way men and women interact with one another, is do no harm. So this is why we know from these authors who read the record that peace and harmony existed globally. There were no mystery schools. The Hermetic Laws were known by everyone. Nature and natural phenomena, these sciences, these areas of study were known by everyone. It was ubiquitous. There were no mystery schools. And everyone knew that the way to do commerce, the way to interact with other men and women, or with your brothers and sisters, with nations, is through the natural law of do no harm. Don't injure anyone. This is why we all know, we've all heard that during this time, our ancestors, we didn't need to keep written records. Okay? The written records came in from what I understand is when we had to start dealing with hybrids. Because of the mentality. Okay? So when our ancestors had the mindset of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, this is before the introduction through violence through warfare, through trickery, through birthright theft. Before the introduction of the solar zodiac projection and all of these types of behavior, this violent mindset, this competitive mindset, before that, during the circumpolar zodiac projection, as I said before, everybody lived in peace and harmony. It's a global brotherhood. And it's not me making it up. I'm not being romantic. That's the fact. Okay, and this explains why the modern day Egyptians flooded all of those temples. Right? They built the dam and flooded all of those temples. Yeah, because those temples had and still have the record, the data about the circumpolar zodiac projection, and that all of these solar religions trace back to it. That's a fancy way of saying that all of these solar religions are a remix of the circumpolar zodiac projection. All right, the Great Mother, the Great Bear, the Mother of Revolutions, the Mother of Cycles of Time. Okay, the origin of life and time. Okay, and then the principles that govern conscious men and women in the southern celestial polar region, the celestial South Pole. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, or reduce that down to its most common denominator: do no harm. Do no harm, do no injury. Okay, so let's go back to it. Let's go back to the issue here, what most people miss. When that solar zodiac projection was brought in through violence, through birthright theft, through abuse, through public policy meant to defame, Escheat, the heirs, to rob them of their birthright, hit them with bills of attainder through the judicial system. For example, Jim Crow, the Black Codes, Children and Family Services, so on and so forth. Different types of licenses. Y'all follow me? So they crafted the solar, and some people might say I'm talking crazy, but I'm going to show it. Y'all can read it now. All you got to do is read The Celestial Ship of the North, Volume 1 and 2, by Emma. It's either Emma or Ella. I think it's Emma Stratton or Straighton, Straiton. What is her name? Emma Stratton. Oh, Emma. Okay, so it's Emma Valencia. Vlaentia. Straighton. Straiton. Just read it. You can get it yourself. All right. So they just came in and crafted the solar zodiac projection. They crafted it, meaning they wrote it up. All right. They just wrote it up. They shifted reckoning time by the stars, the clock of destiny, right? The beginning of time, circle 7, the beginning of time, okay? The source of life, circle 7, the 7 constellations in the northern celestial pole region, circle 7, The Great Bear, today called the Big Dipper, the Great Bear, the Minute Hand in the north, celestial pole region, and Sirius, the Dog Star, who is Soot, S-U-T, Soot in the south celestial pole region. That is the power hand of the clock. And as the author tells us, our ancestors formed a circle around that which is boundless. Or put a boundary around that which is boundless, which is the celestial sea, the celestial sea. Okay, this is where when you put that circle around that which is boundless, that's where we get the clock. See the minute hand, the hour hand? That's where we get the clock of destiny. So what the Solarites did, the followers of Osiris, what they have done was to take those principles, take that story, and apply it to the S-U-N sun. The S-U-N sun becomes God, becomes the creator, okay? Or becomes responsible for creating an environment, which is the truth. Creating an environment, or maintaining rather, an environment where life can exist and persist on planet Earth. But what they don't tell you, up front at least, you got to search and dig for this. I hope you all appreciate what I'm giving you. When we look in the sky, that orb in the sky that we call the S-U-N sun, the ancients understood. I'm talking about before there ever was a solar rite, before the solar zodiac projection. The ancients, our ancient Sabian, Moorish ancestors understood. I'm talking about Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, men and women. They understood that there is a sun behind the sun. Okay? And that what we know as the sun is really reflecting the sun behind the sun. In other words, cosmic energy focused on that one area, and then that cosmic energy reflecting out as what we call the sun. This is what the ancients, our ancient ancestors said. So what are we talking about? Right? We're talking about darkness. The great mother Hathor, who says that her fruit, that the fruit she bore was the S-U-N sun. And this S-U-N sun has been deified as the father, right, YHWH, who is in fact a remix of Typhon, of Hathor, the great mother. It's a remix. It is in fact feminine. Okay, but of course we know that the great mother is in fact the Hermetic law of gender, which is energy, nothing more than energy, having extreme opposite characteristics at the extreme opposite ends of the same, let's say, line. So negative, positive, ano, cato, masculine, feminine. All right. So the Hermetic law of gender, in its function of producing, reproducing, and transforming energy from one state into another, from one being to another. It's said to be filling the role of a mother. And this is what YHWH initially began as. Of course, YHWH had a masculine characteristic. See, for those of us who know, we understand that this is gender, the Hermetic law of gender. But of course, the tetragrammaton has been remixed until now it's just a father. All right? In fact, in fact, it's believed to be a being instead of celestial energy or cosmic energy. Okay, y'all? Or the Hermetic law that undergirds everything that's produced. They believe it's a person. Okay, who did it? The Solarites introduced this concept of a father. So the S-U-N son is also the son, the S-O-N son, the Messiah. Well, let me rephrase that, the Christ. The Christ is correct, Christos. Okay, so, and the God and the Son and the Holy Spirit, who's supposed to be Hathor, the Great Mother, do y'all see this? Created the world. Okay, are physically in control of the whole world. Sit the dog star becomes Satan the devil in Christianity. Or Hashatan becomes the prosecutor who's out to get you in Judaism. Okay, so everything that's good, and everything was good, and still is good, in the circumpolar zodiac projection has been reversed into something evil and presented to us in the solar zodiac projection as gods, devils, and demons, evil things. Do y'all see it? What's the excuse? What's the alibi? Well, things evolved. Astrological knowledge evolved. Those of you who understand the laws of thermodynamics, first of all, we understand. So first of all, who are you? Your thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of mind. Thought is a function of mind. Okay? Thought is a function of mind. This is a Hermetic law of mentalism. All is mind. The universe exists in the mind of the all. And systems begin as highly complex. And then they deteriorate. This is the life and death cycle of nature. Right? Life and death cycle of nature. The birth, growth and maturity, decline, and eventually death of living things. Or just things that are physical. Right? And then that cycle reproduces itself. That was remixed into light and day. Light and day, enlightenment and ignorance. So in other words, competing, a system of competition where there's some fighting taking place, right? Light has to kill darkness. Darkness has to kill darkness. Evil has to kill wisdom. These kind of things. Okay, it's just not true in reality. This is a construct that they created. All right, so let's go back to it. So now, when you look at a zodiacal age, well, guess what, y'all? The 12, I'm not going to give it away. Y'all got to subscribe to North, our YouTube channel on North. All right. 12 zodiac signs. These have a origin. There was a time when our ancestors didn't deal with 12 zodiac signs. I know some of you Moors might not like what I'm saying right now, but it's the fact. It's a fact. So we'll get into that in the Celestial Ship of the North when we get to the chapter that's covered in. I might talk about it before then. It just depends on how on how the conversation is going, right? So initially, our ancestors recognized I believe it's only 7 constellations. Only 7. Then Virgo, Scorpio. Of course, Virgo is a remix of Hathor, the Great Mother, Typhoon. Okay, Virgo, Scorpio was broken apart. Libra was included. And then as we learned in other books, Aries was introduced. But my point is this. The solar zodiac projection was created by the Osirians or someone having to do with them. Someone writes, I don't know if, so pseudo history writes, good always wins. The Escheat sun swallowed 2 planets. Okay. So what's my point, y'all? What's my point? Imagine it's 13 people. Let's say Jesus, the Escheat sun, and his 12 apostles. Okay? Each apostle represents a zodiac sign. JC represents the sun. Let's say we sit down at a big table. Okay? And we decide we're going to create the solar zodiac projection. Now, am I saying it's all fake and a fraud? No. I'm saying that its presentation and its focus is not the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. Hold on, y'all. Pseudo history writes, first came Earth, then the Escheat sun, which spit out the other planets, then began to swallow them. Okay, thank you, pseudo history. Well, what happened next? What happened next? Or as they say in the Philippines, and? Okay, y'all, so imagine 13 people around the table. Everybody's got their pen and paper or their laptop. Okay? And then they craft a new zodiac projection with the sun, the Escheat sun at the center. And the Escheat sun takes on all of the characteristics and attributes of the Great Mother Typhoon, the Great Bear. Everyone see that? And then each of the 12, each of the zodiac signs, let's say we start with 7. Since that's what our ancestors initially recognized. We start with 7, okay? And then we give them, each zodiac sign, the attributes and characteristics from some part of the circumpolar zodiac projection. Does everyone see it? So now we craft it. It's all crafted. And as times change, as the political needs change, we add in other zodiac signs. Okay? We add in other zodiac signs. Now let's say for example, we know the truth, or we know reality, the circumpolar zodiac projection. But we create a solar zodiac projection. And for example, let's say people who reach a certain degree in these mystery schools, they get to learn about the solar zodiac projection and astrotheology. Okay, the masses get, let me go back. So now we create the solar zodiac projection, okay? I'm backtracking. We craft the solar zodiac projection. Just remix it from the circumpolar zodiac projection. Now, the 12 of us, or however many it was, now we say, okay, so now we have the solar zodiac projection. We've given the sun and each of the zodiac signs characteristics and attributes of some aspect of a circumpolar zodiac projection. Now, let's create dogmatic religions. Dogmatic religion. Dogmatic religious belief systems that are out of harmony with natural law. Do no harm, do no injury. It's the first, when you deal with other people. And then secondly, let's get the people to worship external gods, to look for something or someone rather outside of themselves to solve their problems for them. Okay, to disempower them, to disconnect their eyes and ears from their mind. What's the mind? What's the mind? The universal mind, y'all. Some people call it city consciousness. Some people call it divine providence. Some people call it, who know better, the first Hermetic law, which is mentalism. All is mind, the universe exists in the mind of the all. And man is the action aspect of mind, which is thought. Thought made manifest from the soil, period. Period, okay? So now, they have disconnected you from yourself, right? Mind, mentalism. They've disconnected you, therefore, from nature. They have you praying to a God that does not exist. Y'all know why the God exists? Do you know why? Because whatever you believe is what appears in your life. It's called the law of manifestation, or manifesting. These gods and devils are real to you because you believe it. You create the reality. They become real in your life. Pseudo-history writes mind over matter. Okay? Do y'all understand? You manifest, you give these deities life because you believe. Okay, and what you believe, you create as your reality, as your situation, as your circumstance, period. Okay, so this is the Hermetic law of gender being used against you. They have activated that law against you. How? By you doing it to yourself. Okay, so y'all go study up on the Kabbalion by the three initiates. Study up on the law of gender, the cuckoo bird phenomena, cuckoo bird egg phenomena. This is what's happened to you. In fact, the Hermetic laws, through these dogmatic belief systems, the Hermetic laws, nature itself, because of your own fault. Because of your own fault, meaning your behavior, your thought process, are activated against you. Not because you're bad or evil, but simply because you're out of harmony with nature. That's all. Okay? And for those of us who are adults, you have to take responsibility. Okay? Because this information is available. And you've seen, I can't imagine anyone in any religion who has not seen enough with their own eyes or learned to suspect and know that these dogmatic religions are a hustle, but yet they stick with it. And I can say it because I was one of them. I understand that. But anyway, let's go back to it. So now they're sitting at the table. Let's go back to the story. All right, so you have, let's say, 13 people sitting at a table. They've already crafted the solar zodiac projection. They've already crafted the major elements of the solar religions. okay? And the external deity who is the sun sun. All right. So now each of the zodiac signs, they create or craft gods, devils, and demons. Okay, y'all? So for example, during the age of Taurus, the bull becomes God. Apis, the bull becomes God. Right? During the age of Pisces, Jesus becomes God. And fish become representative or symbolic of Jesus and the Virgin Mary, his mother. Okay, y'all? During Aries, age of Aries, Judaism, okay, the ram becomes a holy thing. The ram becomes the sacrifice. The lamb becomes the sacrifice, right? JC becomes the sacrifice. In the age of Taurus, Apis the bull becomes the sacrifice, right, y'all? In the age of Christianity, the man, JC, becomes the sacrifice, but it used to be a sheep before it was a man. But that's a story in itself. We'll get to that in the celestial ship of the north too. Okay, y'all? So if my memory serves me correctly, Gemini, I think the age of Gemini is where we get Buddha. But Gemini is a very interesting story, right? The two twins, okay? Especially when you look at it in context of the two twins and the two fish connected by a rope, and also Virgo. All right, so they sat around at a table, crafted the solar zodiac projection. Okay, now the constellations. There have been editing to the constellations. Which stars make up the constellations? That has occurred. Okay, that has occurred. And then they crafted the mythologies. They crafted the mythologies associated with each zodiac sign. All right? And each part of the world, based upon its local customs, they received a version of those religions that was adjusted for the local culture. Local culture, local practices. Y'all see what I'm saying? But they didn't stop there. They didn't stop there. This is what occurred. And I'm giving y'all my personal opinions. I used to be criticized a lot because I would never talk about my personal opinions. Even now, I don't think I should have to, but I got so much criticism from let me not go there. It's very childish, you know. My personal opinions actually aren't important. But let me say this. They sat down, in my opinion, they sat down and created kingdoms, empires, stories, wars for each zodiacal age. For each zodiacal age, they created kingdoms and empires and gave them a whole history. In other words, they created a construct of reality to impose upon the people of false history to go along with the solar zodiac projection. And guess what, y'all? Each zodiac projection has its own history, right? Its own gods, devils, and demons, and its own empires that rule, and the stories that go along with them then during that zodiacal age. So now, what does this facilitate? This facilitates a so-called historian or researcher to then look at the fake documents, fake artifacts, and whatever other fake stuff they used to create the perception that these empires existed during the time that they said they existed. So now they are able to deceptively track through this fake history, track back through time. So for example, they can say, well, during the age of Gemini, this nation ruled, these gods were worshipped, these devils were feared. Okay, they had these religious practices. Did y'all see it? During the age of Taurus, the people were worshiping the golden calf, Apis the bull. Right? During the age of Aries, the people were worshiping the ram, and all those fake histories and all those fake solar religions. And then during Pisces, okay, all of this stuff is contrived. They sat down and made it up, crafted it, all at the same time. That's my personal opinion. And then they hid the circumpolar zodiac projection, the celestial ship of the north, the circle 7, and clock of destiny. They hid it. And then the little that was known about it has been vilified, has been demonized. Now, why would they do that? The circumpolar zodiac projection, circle 7, clock of destiny, existed since forever. For an uncountable amount of time, an undeterminable amount of time. Thousands or millions of years, or even more. And the whole world was united, and a brotherhood, peace and harmony existed on earth. That's just the fact. They practice the natural law of consciousness, which is to do no harm, do no injury. The solar zodiac projection is not ancient at all. Not ancient at all. At all. And with the introduction of the solar zodiac projection, dogmatic religious beliefs that disconnect the masses of people from nature so that nature acts against them. It's really not acting against them though. It's just, it feels like it's acting against you because you're getting punishments, which are signals to correct, signals to change, signals to change your behavior, harmonize your mind, your thoughts, and your deeds with nature. In other words, do no harm. But because this dogmatic religion is there, okay, our people don't hear it and they don't see it. Why? Because Mark chapter 4, verse 12, JC says that he intentionally disconnected or uncoupled the people's eyes from their mind, so that although having eyes to see, they cannot perceive. They can't perceive what natural law is. They can't perceive how to live in harmony with nature. See, that's being disrupted by the dogmatic religious beliefs. Although having ears to hear, they cannot understand. They don't understand natural law. You go down the street and ask one person what is natural law. Ask them what is natural law, what natural law governs consciousness. 1 in a million will not know. Why? Because the dogmatic beliefs have uncoupled their ears from their mind. Although having ears to hear, they can't understand. Do y'all see it? They're totally disconnected from themselves and from nature. But of course, they are nature. We are nature. Do y'all see it? And it was done intentionally. Because JC then says in Mark chapter 4, verse 12, he says his reason, or the result he wanted to achieve. He says so that they will never be able to repent. They will never be able to turn back and be saved. That was his reason. So he wanted you to be a stateless person. Okay, in other words, chattel, a debtor. In other words, he wanted you to live a hard, impoverished, short life. Deuteronomy 28, 15 through 68, the curses. This is what he wanted. He said it out of his own mouth. Okay, and here's a good example of your eyes being blinded by you being blind and deaf, although you can see and hear. Here's a good example of that. The ecclesiastical class will tell you that JC spoke to the people in parables because it makes difficult things easy to understand. And the people bought it. They ate it up. But JC didn't say that. JC said he spoke to the people for the reason I just told you. To blind them, to handicap them, to make them perpetual debtors in commerce, to make them farm animals, chattel. Okay, so this is my personal opinion of how these things went down. So this is why great men like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali have told us to return to the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, which is simply live in harmony with nature. Okay, study nature. Study the Hermetic Laws. Study nature. And don't harm anyone. Right? What did he say? He said, when you have studied everything, study yourself more. I'm paraphrasing. He says, study yourself more. Because eventually, as you become harmonic with nature and you study yourself, eventually you will discover the circumpolar zodiac projection. You will discover that you are thought made manifest from the soil, and thought is a function of the mind. Mind is the first Hermetic law, which is mentalism. All is mind. The universe exists in the mind of the all. But JC, uncouple your eyes and ears, your primary sensory organs, from your mind. But yet, here you are, thought made manifest from the soil. Thought is a function of the mind. All right? Mentalism is the first Hermetic law. The other 6 Hermetic laws emanate from the first. So Noble Drew Ali knew that when we harmonize ourselves with nature, and we follow natural law, specifically, do no harm, don't injure anyone. Study nature, because in studying nature you learn about yourself. Studying the Hermetic laws will teach you about yourself, who you are, without a doubt. So Noble Drew Ali knew that would take us back to the circumpolar zodiac, and we would see Circle 7 in the northern celestial pole region. All right? We would see it. So the Great Mother produces the Great Bear, today known as the Big Dipper, made of 7 stars. There are 7 constellations in the north, revolving around the pole star. Doesn't matter which pole star it is. Okay? Revolving around the pole star. That first revolution is the beginning of time. There never was a time when man was not. Now you understand that. Because man is eternal. We are thought. We are thought, which is a function of the mind. Okay? So time began with the Great Bear making its first revolution around the pole star. In other words, time is a mental construct. We understand time because we are able to recognize, we are aware of change. We're aware of change. Right? At its most fundamental level, that's what time is. Okay? So for example, the mom gives birth today. Okay? 5 years later, the little infant is now a 5-year-old child. The physical body and the mind of her heir has changed, and we recognize that change. Okay, and we can quantify. We can quantify when those changes took place. We can either do it, for example, today they would do it through the sun. The solar zodiac projection, solar reckoning of time. Before that, it was done by the moon, lunar reckoning of time. Okay, before that, it was solar lunar. I'm sorry, not solar. It was stellar lunar reckoning of time. Before that, it was only the stellar reckoning of time, which is the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. So these other ways to reckon time represent a deterioration, a move away from the mindset, or movement away from the mindset of our ancient foremothers and forefathers. I hope everyone sees that. And look at what it has resulted in. Look at what it's resulted in. Now, some of the worst people, if not the worst people you'll ever meet, are religious people. And they will always have an alibi. They like to call it biblical explanation for the dirt that they do, for their dirty rottenness. All right? They always got a scripture. Right? Y'all give me a second, okay? I'll be right back. And then we're going to get into our lesson. We're going to begin on page 188. So try to keep in mind what we just discussed. Hold on. Try to keep in mind what we just discussed. It will be very beneficial for you at some point in the future, I'm sure. So y'all give me 1 second, okay? I'll be right back.
Bây giờ hồi đó mấy chục năm trước là 4.000 mấy rồi, bây giờ 2.000 mấy 20 năm trước là 4.000 mấy, bây giờ 1.000 tỷ. Mỗi năm nó tăng theo kinh tế mà. Bây giờ cũng được 5.000. Tại vì mình bị cắt sẽ bị không đến mà, cho nên nó đỡ. Mỹ mà bị hô bị accident nó ví dụ anh về hô không bằng cái tuổi đó, nó tại vì nó bị không có ý là giống như hô có ý Mỹ mà hô, tại vì nó bồi thường. Ông cái ông này nè, ông Chí nè. Tại vì cái lương hưu là lương hưu mà người ta làm đi mà ông này bị accident cho nên nó bỏ thường. Đúng rồi, tại vì nói gì mình gặp nó hưu rồi đó, nhưng mà lương hưu nó về hưu nhưng mà nó vẫn xin đô làm cái đó. Nó đâu có tính là về hưu rồi đó. Bởi vì lương của nó biết nó đi vòng hoài, nó bám không thì ở trên đó thì số cái nó đưa đi nó chỉ với em để nó chạy xe đó nó nói mày nữa giờ mình chở nó vậy quá tình như mình có cái tiền xong rồi đó mình chở đi vô khách sạn nào mà sang đó nó sạch sẽ đẹp rồi an toàn mình chở vô đó đi cho nó lấy phòng đó tại vì nó đi ăn ban ngoài đường cao cấp lắm như mình để mà có mà bán tin mà như vậy này kia được mấy chị đứng càng cao nó thấy anh nghi rồi nó nghi rồi tại vì không có anh ra anh bán thông tin này kia cho anh đang cho mấy cái đồ khác
All right, y'all. So let's keep it going. Thank you. Emily, can I have more tea, please? All right, y'all. So I'm back. Sorry about the interruption. You know what? Let me check to make sure we have a signal. Give me 1 second, y'all. Make sure I'm not talking to myself. All right, so page 188. Let's get into the class now. Let's make it do what it do. Thank you. Time out. So I got my my all natural honey. It's supposed to be all natural. All right, y'all. So let me put my honey in my black cafe. So the thing is that if you drink coffee, if you drink it black, if it's a natural coffee bean, meaning non-hybrid, it's actually an herb. It's very healthy for you, right? But the problem with coffee is that it can dehydrate you because it makes you have to go pee. So if you're going to drink coffee, you have to make sure you keep yourself hydrated. Otherwise, you'll be looking shriveled up, literally shriveled up, because you're dehydrated. Okay? So in that sense, I guess it can make you look older. If you're not. So y'all see, I'm trying to, I don't know if y'all can hear me. So I'm trying to check to see if I have a signal, and it's just loading. Y'all see that? This only happens when I live stream. So you see, it's just loading. So of course, these social media platforms would not be able to disrupt or do things to try to discourage people from presenting information unless they had corporate backing from the U.S. Okay? It should be obvious to everyone that they do, right? In other words, they have colluded together. So it's fascism, right? It's fascism. So let's see. Because, mic check. So it's fascism. All right. Okay, so we have a signal. All right, cool. So listen up. See, when this information is known, even the most hardcore religious person cannot deny the facts. Cannot deny the facts, right? So truth can be hidden, but eventually it will come back to light, right? And whether someone chooses to ignore it, which the black people are notorious, for that, right? But it's because of the mindset. And what is the mindset? This is the Negro mindset, right? In other words, the cuckoo bird egg. It's the cuckoo bird egg phenomenon that produces that mindset, that attitude, and that behavior. Okay, and then on top of that, the Christianity that makes the blacks cowards. Also the Mexicans. But anybody who's, well, let me let it go at that. Christianity produces cowards unless you're in the military. Okay, Christianity is a political power. But anyway, let's keep it going. Page 188. All right, so the next in order comes, the twins, Gemini. The favorite house of Buddha or Krishna, or the Christ, or the cross of the Aryans, right? So the four cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. Krishna, Buddha, Christ and Buddha, right? So the next in order comes Gemini, the twins, the favorite house of Buddha or Krishna, or the Christ or the cross, the four cardinal points of the Aryans or ancient Hindus. And guess what, y'all? Guess what? Judaism is a remix of Hinduism. But you should not be surprised about that, because we just talked about how these people sat around a table and crafted the solar zodiac projection. All right? Then they crafted all of the mythologies associated with it. Then they crafted all of the dogmatic religious beliefs. Okay, the basic outline, the basic template. And then they adjusted it for local conditions, local practices. All right? And they created empires that ruled during these zodiacal ages. Now, was it all made up and made believe? Probably half of a lie. They probably used real, could be kingdoms, if we're dealing with Yakub, or it could be real nations, societies, families, and they just remixed it. Same way they do everything else. Same way someone who might take a song from the 1960s or 70s and remix it. Remember, remixing was really big in the 80s and 90s. You know, just remix it. But anyway, let's keep it going. It is the house of oratory. So Gemini is the house of oratory, talking, and of mercantile ventures. So the preacher gives a sermon. Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King are said to be great orators. Talking, okay? Talking as in vocalization, but also talking, y'all, as in you're just talking SHIT. You don't mean a thing you're saying. And of mercantile ventures, of commerce, buying and selling. Okay, so you mean to tell me that Christ is involved in mercantile ventures and commerce, buying and selling? Well, wait a minute, didn't JC throw the money changers out of the temple? Right? We learned that in the New Testament. Right? I have a question for y'all. What did JC do? Let me see if I can find. So what I'm about to talk about, you can get out of the devil's pulpit. Hold on. This story about JC and the money changers. What did he do to the money changers? Okay, y'all. So John chapter 2, verse 15. New International Version. So he is JC. So JC made a whip out of cords and drove all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. New Living Translation. Well, let me show this. Hold on. Yo, it's so bright here. Okay, so New Living Translation. Jesus made a whip. Jesus made a whip from some ropes and chased them all out of the temple. He drove out the sheep and cattle, scattered the money changers' coins over the floor, and turned over their tables. Okay, so he whipped them. Y'all, who else is known for whipping people? He made a whip of cords. Who else is known for whipping people? Let's go to the King James Version. So King James, chapter 2, verse 7. And when he made a scourge of small cords, he drove them out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. He overthrew the tables, right? New King James. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go to the 1611 for y'all serious, for you serious believers. Y'all know I have friends who will say to me, well, that ain't the 1611, so I don't believe it. Oh my gosh. So let's see, y'all. Let's see what we can do with it. So John chapter 2 and the 1611 KJV and verse 12. Am I in the right? Hold on, y'all. Okay, John chapter 2, verse 15. And he made a scourge of small cords. He drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers of money, and overthrew their table. Okay, so he whipped these money changers who were standing at the tables doing commerce. He whipped them and then destroyed their tables. Let me say it again. He whipped them with the whip. So it may have looked something like this. Hold on. It may have looked something like that. Or, hold on, y'all. May have looked something like that. Can y'all see that? But that's really not going to get anybody's attention, is it? It's too small. It may have looked something like that. Can y'all see that? Or like that. Imagine getting hit with that. Now, let's use some common sense here. If they're outside, you got people, money changers. They're in the temple, they're at the table. Are they important people, y'all? Are these powerful people standing at the table? Are they important people, y'all? Are the important people going to be standing at the table dealing with the public? True or false? Yes or no? Or were they common, everyday people, just trying to make a living, changing money? Think about it. Are these regular street sellers? Just regular street sellers. So when you're in Asia, you go out and you see street sellers everywhere. A lot of them are very poorly educated or no education at all. Some of them make a lot of money though. But for the most part, they're very poorly educated. They have no power. They have no power. In fact, in terms of status, they're at the bottom. They're at the bottom. But yet JC takes a whip. He didn't take it, he made it. It says he made it. That means he had time to think about what he was doing. He was very intentional. He found some rope and made a whip. And he started whipping people, whipping these poor people, whipping these poor, low status people who are out there just trying to make a living changing money. Okay, well, let's say they were cheating, for example. I don't know. Were they cheating? Were they only concerned with making money? I don't know. But did he whip the scribes and Pharisees? The scribes and Pharisees had power. Did he make a cord of ropes and whip them? What's your answer, scholars? Did JC whip the scribes and Pharisees who had financial and political power? Or did he whip the poor and helpless people who were just out there trying to make a living? In fact, they went to the temple probably because that's where all the people were. But the scribes and the Pharisees, they were doing 1,000,000 times worse, more evil, more wicked. In fact, all the money changers were doing were changing money. But look at what the scribe and Pharisees were doing out of JC's own mouth. He called them basically devils. Hypocrite, vipers, liars, followers of the devil. But he did not whip them. The topic here is Christ and commerce. Christ and commerce and whipping helpless people. Okay, y'all? All right. So Gemini, the twins, is the favorite house of Buddha, is the favorite house of Krishna or the Christ. Gemini is the favorite house of the Christ or the cross, of the Aryans or ancient Hindus. So y'all see that this is the same story across all of these religions. They sat at a table and wrote this stuff up, crafted it up. All right. Gemini is the house of oratory, the preacher, the priest, the rabbi giving his sermon, talking truth or talking shit, and of mercantile ventures, and of commerce, and of trade. So Gemini is the house of commerce, and this is JC's favorite house. And Gemini is, as it signifies, an airy sign, the airhead, right? Signs for airheads. The name of its angle or angel is Ambriel. Its prophet is Zechariah. The name of the apostle is Simon. So do y'all see? Do y'all see why I'm saying they crafted all of this stuff? They sat down and crafted it up. All right? And it's just okay, here the first layer is a solar zodiac projection. The second layer, which is nothing but a template of the solar zodiac, the second layer would be what, y'all? The dogmatic religious belief system. Or the second layer would be the mythology. The solar zodiac mythology. The next layer, for example, might be the dogmatic religions. Everybody see it? But it's all a remix of the stories, the teaching tools that our ancestors used to explain the Hermetic Laws. Okay, to explain reality. And to tell us what the natural law governing men and women are. In family, in commerce, in whatever. Do no harm, do no injury. I hope everyone sees this. So the name of the apostle is Simon, and the son, and the son of Isis Ra-El of Israel, named by Jacob, is Simeon. And in parentheses it says, for Simeon and Levi are twins, cruel in their wrath. For Simeon and Levi are twins. Y'all see it? So y'all can pause this on the replay. Simeon and Levi are twins. Okay, let's continue. The character of the banner of this house is, and we see an ancient Ibaryath word printed here in biblical Hebrew. It commences about May 21 or May 22. Its stone, or Gemini stone, the stone that represents Gemini, is topaz. Its plant is the bending vervain, V-E-R-V-A-I-N. It rules over the arms and hands of man. So Gemini rules over the arms and hands of a man, the upper limbs, right? Its diseases are corruption. Oh my gosh. Its diseases are corruption of the blood. Did y'all hear that? You can't make this stuff up. I hope. Let me get my. Remember, we're talking about Jesus here, right? We're talking. Let me not say Jesus. We're talking about the Christ. Corruption of the blood. Okay, so corruption of the blood will result in what, y'all? Loss of your birthright. Escheat and bills of attainder, bills of pain and suffering. I'll take a look at that. So, Doctor, I'm not making this up. As y'all can see, it's right here for everybody to read. This book was published. Hold on, y'all. I'm trying not to knock my coffee. And this table is too small. Hold on. Y'all see corruption of the blood? Its diseases are corruption of the blood. See, y'all, we're dealing with civics. Okay, civics, veiled as religious doctrine. Its diseases are corruption of the blood. Give me 1 second, y'all. Okay, y'all. So I found a definition this worthy of reading. So this is in Britannica.com. Somebody write a comment in the comment section, okay? Somebody write a comment in the comment section. It will help. It'll help with the distribution of this video. So I'm gonna take us through it, but let me show it. Y'all can pause this on the replay, but let me show it first, okay? Man, all I see is glare. I don't know what y'all see, but so pause it on the replay, okay? Okay, now remember, let's go back to page 188. Gemini rules over the arms and hands of a man. So what are the function of the arms and hands of a man? For example, your right hand. Think about the function of your arms and hands. If you don't get any ideas, think about someone who has no arms, therefore no hands. What limitations are imposed on them because they have no arms and legs? I'm sorry, no arms and hands. Okay, now let's read this. Let's go through it. Attainder law, also known as Bill of Attainder. Okay, so attainder in English law, the extinction of civil and political rights. That means you are civilly dead in the eyes of the law. And you are politically dead. All right, so attainder in English law, the extinction of civil and political rights resulting from a sentence of death or outlawry. Okay, death can be physical or civil. After a conviction, so for example, there we go back to the capitis, diminutio, maxima, media, minima under Roman law. All right, these, the way the spell, the capitalization of the name of a, let's say, someone who was formerly free, who is now enslaved. The pattern of capitalization represents the degree of their loss of their ability to inherit their freedom and their liberty. All right, y'all? I used to teach that in my classes. Okay, so as a result of death or outlawry, after a conviction of treason or felony. Isn't that interesting? So y'all, let me ask you, how does this relate to the book of the law? Well, in religion, we would say you broke the Most High's commandments. Okay? In civics, we would say you're acting out of harmony with nature, or you did not, or you are not, you have not honored your ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. Okay? Now let's continue. The most important consequences of attainder were forfeiture and corruption of blood. Listen. The most important consequences of attainder were forfeiture and corruption of the blood. Forfeiture and corruption of the blood. All right? Gemini's diseases are corruption of the blood. Well, let's continue. Now remember, we're dealing with commerce. We're dealing with Christ and commerce. Don't forget Mark chapter 4, verse 12. For treason, an offender's lands were forfeited to the king. For treason, an offender's lands were forfeited to the king. So under U.S. law or statutes, what's happening here? Estates are what? Forfeited to the state. If there's no heir, the state takes it. The state is the corporate state of this, the corporate state of that, right? State of New York, state of Florida, what have you. If there's no heir, then the property goes to the state, right? By those acting in whatever positions, those beings acting in whatever positions they're acting in the state. Y'all see it? So for felonies, lands, the Almoroccan Empire, the land were forfeited to the kings for a year and a day. And then because felonies were considered a breach of the feudal bond. You can't make this stuff up. This is the situation, Moors, that we are dealing with right now, today. So y'all, when we talk about felonies, we're talking about living out of harmony with nature, breaking the Most High's commandments. Deuteronomy 28, the curses, right, y'all? For felonies, lands were forfeited to the king for a year and a day, and then because felonies were considered a breach of the feudal bond, escheated, in parentheses, forfeited to the Lord for whom the offender held his tenure. Okay, in other words, these foreigners come in and take your land. And now you pay them a rent to stay there or to have access to it. Okay, y'all? He continues. So Lord as in landlord, but these are fake landlords, right? Subsequently in Magna Carta, the year was 1215 AD, the crown renounced its claim to forfeiture in the case of felony. Even harsher than attainder was the doctrine of corruption of blood, by which the person attainted was disqualified from inheriting or transmitting property, and his descendants were forever barred from any inheritance of his rights to title. All forms of attainder, except the forfeiture that followed indictment for treason, were abolished during the 19th century. So, of course, y'all, this is talking about under English law, and we know that the corporations in North America, well, the U.S. Corporation Company, we know that they are operating a system of feudalism. They call it democracy, right? But it is actually feudalism, fascism. Okay, so if we were to take this further, by the way, y'all, inheritance. Let's deal with inheritance. Do y'all see inheritance? So do you see the prefix in? How many words do we see there? So in, her, and tense. In her would be in the earth. Okay, in her, which is the earth, or the great mother. The great mother Typhoon, the great mother Hathor, the celestial ship of the north, the seeds of life, right? Or the ship of life. So in her, and then tense. So let's look up that. Hold on, y'all. One second. This is a little bit crazy. Doggone shame. I'll tell y'all in a minute. Unbelievable. Hold on, y'all. So here we see the suffix ants. Took me forever to be able to pull that up. But do y'all see that? Ants. Well, it says noun suffix. 1, action or process. Instance of an action or process. 2, quality or state. Instance of a quality or state. Hold on, y'all. Amount, number 3, amount or degree. Amount or degree. So remember, we're looking at inheritance. So in, let's go back to inheritance. In, her, it, ants. Hold on. So the first word we see in inheritance is in. The second word we see in inheritance is her. The third word we see is it. And the fourth word or suffix, which is a suffix, is ants. So in her, it is. Everyone see that? Man, it's so bright. All right, so this is how the word is constructed. So everyone see that? In, her, it, ants. So in her would be the earth. Trace it back to the great mother nature, who would be the great mother typhoon in the circumpolar zodiac projection, which is what, y'all? Or you can trace it back, the great mother typhoon, the great bear. This is the place of beginnings where everything was formed. Does everyone see it? So most people will say inheritance in her, meaning in a fleshly woman. So all things of value come from the earth. All things of value come from the earth. All right. This is why man is thought made manifest from the earth, from the soil, from the land, and land by lawful definition is mores. Okay, so now it's perfectly understandable, perfectly logical, right? Why land is the substance and the subject matter of the law. Why land and law are inseparable. Why mores and law are inseparable. Doesn't matter what kind of law it is. The Hermetic Laws, common law, constitutional law, the mores are the law. Land, mores, and law are inseparable. Therefore, land, therefore mores are the substance and subject matter of the law. And this is why the hybrid from Genesis chapter 1, the Han Uman, the troglodyte nigger, the Paleolithic caveman, is defined in a law dictionary as a monster who cannot inherit, who's non-descendable. But anyway, let's keep going. So Gemini's diseases are corruption of the blood, which is what, y'all? Loss of birthright. Civil death. Political death. Bills of attainder. Bills of pains and sufferings. Escheat. In other words, having your property taken away from you. Through what, y'all? Through what? Through public policy. Through administrative codes, statutes, city codes. Okay, y'all? Birth certificate, marriage license, driver's license, all of these adhesion contracts. Does everyone see it? Professional licenses, attorneys, attainder, attorney. Because almost all of the autochthonous people, men and women, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, are in a condition or state of dishonor of their ancient foremothers and forefathers. Almost all. So in other words, we would say the house of Yasharallah or Israel is in the curses. Okay, now y'all, let's continue. So Gemini's diseases are corruption of the blood. Replace that with Escheat and bills of attainder, birthright theft, loss of birthright. Okay, civil death, political death. Okay, so it continues. Its diseases are wind in the veins. What does that mean? I got to come back. I don't know what, I've never heard that before. Wind in the veins. Wind in the veins, all infirmities in the arms and shoulders, broken limbs or out of joint, aches, ringworms, and all diseases incident to limbs and brain fevers. Y'all know what this is saying? Y'all know what this is saying? One loses his or her ability to act. That's what this is saying. Right? Our power, we exert through what? Through our arms and hands. So you need your hand and arm to even just pick up a glass and drink or eat. So imagine if you don't have that, now you need someone else to do it for you. You are dependent. Okay, if you are dependent, what does that mean? You need someone to do it for you. You need someone to do it for you. Right? You need someone to do it for you. You need someone else to manage your estate for you. But also, if you have eyes to see, but you don't perceive, and you have ears to hear, and you don't understand, you also need someone to manage your estate for you, because you are clinically crazy. Right? You see things that are not there, and you hear things that are not there. You don't process reality well, accurately. So someone has to manage your estate. In other words, your estate and your person, your body, is put under the management of someone else, and in this case, a foreigner. I hope everyone sees this. One moment. Okay, so I'm at the website Bible Study Tools. Look up arm. It says here arm used to denote power. It is also used of the omnipotence of capital God, God. International Standard Bible, Encyclopedia, arm. Okay, so figurative, the figurative meaning. The arm denotes influence, power, means of support, or conquest. So, for example, the arms of Moab and of Pharaoh are broken. The arm of Eli and the arm of his father's house are to be cut off. Applied anthropomorphically to God. So arm is applied anthropomorphically or symbolically to God. The arm denotes also his power, power to deliver, support, conquer. His outstretched arm delivered Israel from Egypt. Okay, and then here's another one. Underneath are the everlasting arms. Okay, that's Deuteronomy 33:27, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let me continue on. All right, y'all. So Gemini is talking about your power, your ability to act, or your dependency on someone else. All right, is it clear? So keep in mind when we go to the celestial ship of the north, we're going to get into Gemini and what Gemini actually is, what it traces back to, and it's where it comes from. Okay, y'all? That's going to be phenomenal. Let me make a note here. So I'm writing in my margin note Escheat and of course bills of Attainder. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. Okay, so let's take a look here. What's the name of this document? Give me 1 second, y'all. So this document is the Morris Order of the Round Table, Civic Lesson, book number 14, titled CM Bay, certificate number AA, 222-141. A lot of y'all already know where I'm going. And more civic relations concepts. Copyright Brother Taj Tariq Bey, 1996 AD. 1416 on the Moorish calendar, Moorish nation, northwest of Maxim. So if y'all want to get this, you can download it off of enforcetheconstitution.org. Everyone see it? Okay, so let's continue. So I don't see a page number, so let me just show you where we're at. So now remember, the topic is power, ability to act. Okay, bills of attainder, bills of pain and suffering. Birthright, birthright theft. Okay. Escheat, attainder, etc. So look at number 3. Y'all take a look at that? Where my finger is? Does everyone see it? Okay, number 3, certificate, registration number AA 222141. Everybody see that? So this is what it reads. September 8th, 1952 AD. MC, Morse calendar, 1372. Clock of destiny. Moorish American, in parentheses, Al-Moroccan, nationality card of identification with Zodiac Constitution. This certificate, AA 222141, is the focus of this civic examination, for it is without doubt affirming the relationship, proper venue at law, between the Moors, the Franks, and other foreign Christians. This is taking us where, guys? Scholars, rather. Where? To the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. To consular court. To consular court jurisdiction and venue. Okay, so let's look at the next line. Everyone see it? What's the next line say? United States codes of laws rather, of a general and permanent character. Title 22, Chapter 2. All right, so 222. Consular Court. General information. This is how it reads. Consul, a visar, in parentheses, officer. Consul, C-O-N-S-U-L, or minister, representative of a nation, who is appointed or assigned the duty of the overseer of the nation's relationship with another nation concerning the citizens, mercantile, economics, etc. Take a look. The word we're interested in, what, y'all? Citizens, synonymous in this case with nationality, mercantile, commercial. Remember, we're dealing with Gemini. We're dealing with the Christ, okay? Remember Christ? His favorite house, he's dealing with mercantile ventures. Okay, so we're back in the Astrology of the Old Testament, page 188. So here we are. Dealing with Gemini, do y'all see it? Mercantile ventures. I hope y'all can see that. Shit. Fuck. All right, I made it. Damn. This is what I was trying to avoid, y'all. The table's too small. I'm sorry. Dang it. Oh well, they're probably not gonna want to see me again. I'm gonna try to go back in that other room where I have 2 tables. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some of y'all might, I hope you're not surprised that I use foul language. Sometimes I'm sorry. Sometimes I enjoy it because for decades, more than 3 decades, I was very religious and I always had to watch my tongue. And now whenever I do it, it reminds me that I'm no longer in that mental bondage, you know, where if you use foul language it's sin, but foul language is just something it's just an expression, right? Of frustration or something like that. Or an expression of how you feel. So sometimes I enjoy it. All right? So, but don't criticize me because I'm not religious in the least bit. I feel so bad. I'm sorry. I make the young lady have to do extra work. I'm gonna go back in the back of her. I'm gonna try not. Y'all give me a second. I'm gonna go in the back. In the other room there are 2 tables. Hopefully I can get a table. But when I went in there earlier, there were too many people, you know. And there was no one here, so I came here. And but that was the first time that ever happened. So we're gonna pick up on this, y'all. Be patient. We're gonna come back to this in just a minute or 2. All right, just a minute or 2. Let me get my stuff. Hold on. I'll be right back, y'all. I'm gonna. So here I have to be more soft-spoken, okay? So here we go. Let's pick it back up. All right, y'all. So here we are dealing with council or minister representatives. We went through the definition. So you see that council deals with matters concerning a nation's citizens or nationals. It's commerce, therefore it's economics, etc. The council or councils generally report to a higher vizir, officer or minister, who is called council general. Does everyone see? Okay, so everyone should keep in mind that the Biblioheliotext is an encoded work. It is an encoded work, and it's dealing with civics, not just the astrology, astrotheology, nature, but actually nature involves civics, right? Law. Okay. So let's continue. Subheading: consular courts. Consular courts generally deal with civil cases, and in some circumstances having criminal jurisdiction. Consular courts are held by consuls of one nation/country in the territory or jurisdiction of another nation/country. So keep in mind that jurisdiction is not talking about land. Okay, jurisdiction, law language, jurisdiction, law language, okay? So let's continue. These courts are operated under the authority of treaties, which are constitutionally enforced. All parties must be lawfully identified. All parties must be lawfully identified. Okay, not third parties. Okay, let me give you an example of what I mean by third party. So, of course, in order for there to be a legitimate case, a lawful case, there has to be an injured party. So, a living, breathing man or a woman or being, right? If you know what I mean. For example, a U.S. citizen or someone under their protection. All right. Flesh and blood. I got to start bringing my other book. I have another book with all of the cases. I got to start bringing those. So a third party would be, for example, a corporation, right? State of Florida, state of so on and so forth. All right? Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, y'all. One second. Okay, so let's go back to consular courts. So all parties must be lawfully identified with documented proof of nationality and citizenship. So that would exclude a corporation, y'all. And documented proof of sovereign authority. That's a key word, documented proof, a key phrase, documented proof of sovereign authority to enforce the law, to enforce the constitution of the people. Okay? So let me share something with y'all. Remember, we're talking about the parties to a case, okay? And third parties, they don't have anything to do with the case, okay? So I downloaded a document called Case Laws on enforcetheconstitution.org. And if y'all look at injured party. So for it to be a legitimate case, there has to be an injured party. But yet, when you go into these de facto venues that they're calling courts, the state of this and the state of that is not an injured party. So this is the case Trenzi versus Pagolero, 229 F.SUPP.647, quote unquote. Statements of counsel in their briefs or arguments are not sufficient for purposes of granting a motion to dismiss or for summary judgment. Let's see, hold on. Okay, Allen versus Wright, 468 U.S.737, 751, 1984. Okay, in parentheses, 1984, quote unquote. The requirement of standing, however, has a core component derived directly from the Constitution. A plaintiff, this is the injured party, a plaintiff must allege personal injury fairly traceable to the defendant, allegedly to the defendant's allegedly unlawful conduct, and likely to be redressed by the requested relief. And then this is the last one I'm going to go over. A Shearer versus Collin, 481 F.945, quote unquote. For a crime to exist, there must be an injured party, corpus delicti. There can be no sanction or penalty imposed on one because of this constitutional right. I got to read this one. People versus SAP, 733 P.3D, 433, 467, in parentheses, Cal.2003, quote unquote. In every criminal trial, the prosecution must prove the corpus delicti, or the body of the crime itself, i.e., the fact of injury, loss, or harm, and the existence of a criminal agency as its cause. Oh, well, I got to read the next one. Remember, this is under the subheading of injured party. Penn Hollow versus Doan's Administrator, 3 U.S. 54, 1 L.ED 57, quote unquote. Inasmuch as every government is an artificial person, that's a corporation, that's a 14th Amendment citizen, right? Or corporate person. Inasmuch as every government is an artificial person, an abstraction, and a creature of the mind only, a government can interface only with artificial persons. So in other words, a 14th Amendment corporation can interact with another 14th Amendment corporation or person, right? The imaginary having neither actuality nor substance. Where does substance come from? In her, inheritance. Okay, earth. Man is thought made manifest from the soil. Mores are thought made manifest from the soil. Land means more in the law dictionary, therefore land and law cannot be separated. Mores and law cannot be separated. Therefore, mores are the substance and subject matter of the law. Does everyone see? So the imaginary, the corporations, the non-living, have neither actuality nor substance. This is why the Genesis chapter 2 Neanderthal, Paleolithic caveman, the Han-Uman, the human, is non-descendable. It has no substance. It's colorable, right? It's colorable in law, a symbolicum of a more. Okay? So the imaginary, these corporations are foreclosed from creating and attempting parity, equality, being at the same level with the tangible, meaning having birthrights. They cannot have birthrights. All right? The legal manifestation of this is that no government, as well as any law, agency, aspect, court, etc., can concern itself with anything other than corporate, artificial persons, that's 14th Amendment, and the contracts between them. Okay? So these third parties, state of this and state of that, they can't bring a case. There's no injured party. That's the point. Okay, so let's go back to the document. It says the descendants of Moroccans born in America, the Moorish Americans, should refer to the Treaty of Peace and Friendship of it says here 1787, but it should be 1836 in 1836, between Morocco and the United States, between the Empire of Morocco and the United States of North America. Remember, the European Christians are foreigners, and you must remember that Christianity is a political power. It's not a religion. This is Constantinian Christianity. All right, these are foreign powers. Okay, so they settle on our land. Okay, he goes on to say this is our home. Next page. As consular courts were abolished in the U.S. in 1956 AD, 1376 by the Moorish calendar year, all issues between the Moors and European powers, European Christians, being of a treaty nature, are obviously of a federal jurisdiction. Article 3, right? The states cannot make treaties and therefore have no jurisdiction. And besides, they're corporations, they're imaginary, right? They're third parties or non-injured parties, all right? And they're imaginary. A change of venue should be automatically, okay, so let's skip that. Any jurisdiction claimed without mutual agreement within the prescribed proper forum, okay, is void of law. Okay, that means it's void ab initio and unenforceable due to lack of jurisdiction and fraud. Proper venue is consular court venue and jurisdiction. Federal and state officials must set up. Okay, so it's actually the Moors. We have our own. Go to enforcetheconstitution.org and you can learn about our consular court. Okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. So notice this, y'all. Keep in mind that the U.S. corporation company gave up its consular jurisdiction and venue in 1956, but we Moors did not give up ours. So notice what the next paragraph says. If there is no proper jurisdiction or venue, he's talking about for the U.S. corporation company, then no lawful or legal trial can be held in their venues, in their courts. Therefore, all rights revert back to the people. And in parentheses, it says self-government with sovereign authority. All right. Is this Article 10, y'all? I believe it's Article 10. He continues. This is where Certificate AA 222141 clearly proves its purpose. When government officials supersede their jurisdiction or deny lawful due process, redress, recourse, and remedy, quote unquote, at law, then they are the criminals and are traitors to the Constitution and treaty. Remember, y'all, the penalty for being a traitor is loss of inheritance, loss of property, whatever property they have to cough it up. Right? But also there's another penalty that's worse than that. Okay? So they are traitors to the Constitution and treaty, to which they are bound by law, and from whence they derive any authority at all. Okay? This is where your written Zodiac Constitution comes into effect. Use it. Hold on, y'all. Let me, So if y'all want this, you can download it off of enforcetheconstitution.org, study materials. Go to study materials in the menu. Give me 1 second. Hold on, y'all. All right, yeah, here we are. Here we are. Okay, so turn the page over. I'm going to read the second paragraph. Secretly using the black codes of 1724, the states, the state of this, the state of that, right, forced their chattel refer back to Genesis chapter 1, the Goyim, denationalized Moors, refugees and stateless people, forced their chattel, the blacks, the Hispanics, any Moor, regardless of the brand, the tag, forced their chattel to incorporate themselves and their property with the states by misrepresentation of authority, threat, and coercion. The rule of the colonial states is to use the force of color of law and color of authority. Government agencies and sub-agencies force their chattel, denationalized Moors, Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, man, into costly, non-mutual contracts with the state's licensed and sanctioned private corporations. This is in direct conflict with constitutional law or any sovereign authority from the people in the preamble and Article 10, right? The reserved rights of the people. And then it says here, Moors with an exclamation point. In other words, listen. Always refer to your written Moorish Zodiac Great Seal Constitution for your protection against the foreign aliens and their color of law and color of authority. So if they ever try to force you to put your autograph on a document, you should autograph it, all rights reserved, okay? And remember, they're forcing you. So you put under protest, right? You will write all rights reserved, under protest, and without prejudice, without loss of rights. In other words, you're not giving them nothing. Okay, you're not giving up any of your birthrights. All right, and then you come back later and enforce. Right. Well, you would actually prepare affidavit of fact, telling what happened, etc. You know, how you were forced, okay? And then that's going to give you the protection that you need if they try to enforce that constitution, that contract against you. All right? And then they know that they're not dealing with someone who doesn't know what's happening. Okay, so let's go back to Gemini. I feel a little bit uncomfortable. You know what? I'll come back later. Everybody's quiet in here. I don't want to be rude. Islam to all the Moors. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.